pleasing you. That's a happy thing to do at bedtime.
It is.
Although I'm not saying this is why I'm protecting you, but she's not being protected against bad dreams or anything like that, and it could work. So
exactly.
But my son will sometimes say, "But mummy, we said the du'as and we read the surahs for protection, and I still have nightmares."
Yeah, that's one of the difficult questions.
Say it doesn't work.
Yeah, that's one of the difficult questions that we did answer in the blog. But I mean, yes, that's a very beautiful thing to do. And the if they do wake up from a bad dream, making them aware of what they have to do, which is say "A'udhu billah" and spit to their left shoulder. So that sort of makes them feel empowered that there is something that I can do, even if I did have a bad dream. And the thing about why do we sometimes we make our du'as, but we still get hurt. It's you have to convey to them that if you hadn't made that dua, so for example, you've gone out, and this is how we answered it in the blog, is that you've made your du'as and you've gone out to ride your bike. And while you're riding your bike, the paddle, it just came and hit you on your shin, and ouch, that hurts. Yeah, for anybody who's ridden a bike before, you remember how much that hurts, yeah? The pedal, sorry. It's hit you on the shin, and you're like, ouch, but I did my protection dua, why did that happen to me? Mummy, why did that happen? Why did I still get hurt? But if you hadn't done your protection dua, then perhaps something really bad might have happened to you. You could have gone over the handlebars and, God forbid, broken your leg, or something worse could have happened. So actually, because you said that dua, you just got hit by a pedal, and then, maybe you called out to Allah and then Allah loved you doing that as well. And yes, Allah does want us to keep doing those du'as, so He wants to make us stronger and make sure that we keep doing them even when little things like that do happen. So making them realise that whenever they make du'a, and I'm going to be doing a workshop with them which is all about du'as, so I will convey this to them, but whenever they make a du'a, it is heard. So even if they've sort of asked for the next craze that's being advertised on TV and they don't get it, they're going to get something better than it. And you know that Allah is shy not to answer our du'as. There's no du'a that's not, even if we don't get what we specifically wanted, it's because Allah knows so much better than us. He knows He would have given us something that's better for us, and He's shy. Can you imagine? He's shy not to give us something when we lift our hands and ask from Him. So just don't let them feel that, why do we sometimes make du'a and it's not answered? It's answered, but in many different ways, and because Allah can see everything, the bigger picture, whereas we can only see what's in front of us. So don't let them feel that their du'as aren't being answered, because they are. Just keep telling them that it might have been answered in this way or in that way, and there's no way that you're lifting your hands and asking Allah or asking Him within your heart and He's ignoring you. Allah doesn't do that. He's definitely giving you something, and He is protecting you. And they love angels, so anything about angels, and you know that they are angels with us that protect us from things that are not supposed to happen to us, so they love that kind of thing. They love to hear that kind of thing. It amazes them. Yeah. And stories of the prophets as well, because they see that prophets who are obviously so beloved to Allah, even they had tests and they went through all this stuff and then they got through it, and those stories are great stories, they're really, really good stories. So there's so many stories out there with superheroes and this and that, but those stories are actually really, really, really great stories, with the whale and the Nuh alayhi salam's ark, and so they have a lot of fun with that, and it's good for them to understand these things and know these things. Okay, prophets had tests as well, but they sort of got over it, and it was because of their iman and their love for Allah that they got over it, and obviously Allah's love for them. Is there anybody else want to share anything? Or even if you want to disagree with anything I've said, go for it.
My daughter is only 4, she'll be starting October, she's starting full-time in September.
Yeah.
She absolutely loves music and dancing. We went on holiday recently and I was just entertainment and stuff. And I said, actually Muslims don't really listen to music, and we're not really allowed to dance. So she goes, but I don't want to be a Muslim.
Oh.
So I thought, okay, she's not ready to hear music and dancing is, that bad or whatever. At home, I try to, put nasheeds on her, which she loves. So, I kind of replace it at home with something else. But is there anything I can do? Because she's starting full time, it's really worrying me now. And my husband's really worrying us, she's just going to get right in there, she just can't keep her body straight when there's, or whatever. So how can I sort of work around this at home? Or is she still too young to sort of, I don't know.
Yeah,
she
I think
that later on.
Yeah,
right now.
and I think that's you have to handle it really tactfully again, because when we keep saying as Muslims we're not allowed to do this and we're not allowed to do that, we're always just telling them what we're not allowed to do, but not showing them enough of what we can do and why that's really fun and spiritual and great as well. So I think personally I would kind of not give that too much attention. She'll move away from it. The more attention you give it, and the more you tell her, oh, you're not allowed to, and she's probably going to focus on it. And then, like you said, she's going to have a negative connotation with Islam. It must be boring. We're not allowed to dance or whatever it is. But try and sort of sway her heart towards things that are really beautiful and allowed. Something like we might go for a walk in the woods and just sort of glare out at the clouds and perhaps have somebody with a really beautiful recitation and close your eyes and talk to them about how that feels, because the Quran is when somebody writes Quran, that is musical, isn't it? That's beautiful. There's a rhythm to it, and that's true beauty. Even when a non-Muslim hears the Quran being recited, they feel something. So just sort of do more of that. And I feel, and the reason why I mentioned nature is because I think that's really great spiritually. For myself, I feel that, and obviously it must be for children as well, and we don't get enough of it living here in London. But just asking them to focus on, even if you're still in the city, I often just look up and the clouds, different people will have different things that they look at which sort of invoke some sort of spiritual thing within them. But, and I often say to my kids, look at the clouds, and if you just lay there and look at the clouds, you can get a bit of nature just being within your concrete jungle, but do make the effort to go out into nature and reflect on those things, like, oh, wow, they're just so beautiful, even if it's just a tree, even if it's just the clouds, focus her. If she likes rhythm, then, make sure that she focuses on it in the correct way. And like you said, there's nasheeds as well. But don't make it a huge thing. I would say that's what I would do.
If I can just add as well, I think that can be very confusing for children as well if they're going to a regular school, because obviously music is part of the curriculum at school, and they'll be doing dance and PE, so they'll be doing all these activities at school. So if you say to them this is haram, it's very confusing to them.
I think she was just too young for me to just say, but then I just said it to her once, and then I let it go because I was like, she's not ready for this, so I'm just going to let it go.
And I think there can't be any harm in, I think it can't be, there can't be anything wrong in Allah's eyes for children to dance or to sing, because it's natural for children. It's a natural thing for children to do. So personally, I feel that our actions are judged by our intentions. So there's music and there's music. So for them to, for me personally, I'm not happy with. I was in I was in the Virgin mobile phone shop, and I was being served by a young Muslim woman in the shop, and I think all the staff in the shop were Muslim, and they'd got MTV on or something in the background, and it was like Sexy Hour or something with the and we were all sort of like, and maybe they had to play it at the shop, but we were all sort of standing there realising it was completely inappropriate, but I think there's a wide spectrum of music and dancing personally, and that's very good from white, I think,
I'm not too strict, it's just like, as in I know it's around us wherever we go to a restaurant, sometimes we can't even talk to each other because the music is so loud or whatever, so it's everywhere, wherever we go, shopping, it's everywhere, so I'm not extremely it's just, she literally can't keep her body straight to anything, so I just want to know how I can tackle it at home, outside of the world, outside the home, I can't control it so much, but inside the home, I just don't know how I can, so make something else more fun for her to do.
Exactly. And like the sister said, you know, you don't need to worry about her being accountable for for those kinds of things at this age. So, anybody else? Yes,
So
sister.
just going back to difficult questions and how to answer.
Mhm.
So me and my daughters, at the end of our namaz, we pray for those suffering in the world and for children of the world who are suffering and so on.
Mhm.
And I can kind of see it in your eyes as asking, but why, if Allah has ultimate power, why does He let these things happen? Why does He not stop them?
Hmm.
And it's just kind of giving them an answer that will resonate with them, you know,
Yeah.
actually find comfort in.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not quite sure how to tackle that.
Yeah, no, you're right. That is another one of the difficult questions, especially when children have seen sort of suffering closer to home, whether it's somebody who's really ill and they do wonder, you know, why does Allah sort of let that happen? When it comes to, and that they often ask about poor people as well. So it's like, you know, why are people poor and why is there suffering? Why are some people suffering? So when it comes to the suffering, it is a really difficult one, and you do have to kind of break it down for children to make them understand that nobody suffers without them being elevated in Allah's eyes, and you know their sins being removed, and that, you know, it is difficult, but you do have to try and get them to understand that, because and it's difficult because then you think, oh, but then why doesn't Allah just sort of, they might ask, why doesn't Allah elevate them without sort of giving them an illness or things like that. And again, going back to the stories of the prophets, you know, if they see, for example, that Ayyub alayhi salam, he was afflicted with such, but with the illness, but you know, he just kept steadfast on his, with his du'as to Allah, with his love for Allah, and then Allah took it all away from him. But yeah, just helping them to realise that if they are suffering, you know, they're kind of almost lucky in a way, because they're just getting higher and higher in paradise, and their sins are being taken away. They're just being wiped clean. That naughty board is being wiped clean. And you know, I sort of wish that I would prick my finger a bit so some of my sins can go away. You know, just kind of helping them try to understand that we as adults kind of can be more at peace with that than children. But that is the answer to those kind of questions. And when it comes to the why are some people poor, that is one of the ones that we answered on the blog. And I actually got a sheikh to answer the questions for me, and then I put it into kids speak. And his answer to that was that, you know, the question was, why hasn't Allah SWT given money to everybody? And his answer to that was that He has given money to everybody, but some people are greedy and kept it for themselves. So the concept is that the wealth is there in the world, it's for everyone, and we are supposed to give in charity. Oh, and there's another really beautiful video that I want you to see. It's things to say, things that every Muslim parent should say to their child, sort of every day or as often as possible. And one of them is that giving does not make you poor. So, you know, some people are greedy and we're not giving enough in charity. The wealth is not distributed equally in the world, and it's because of those things. But, you know, that wealth actually does belong to those poor people, but it's people are holding it back out of their greed. So that was his answer to that. But sometimes it's, you know, it's great when they ask these kind of questions, because, as I said, it means that they have an interest. They have they want to know more about Allah, which is always a great sign. Yeah. So I hope that helped a little bit. Yeah.
We have the final question. We have any from the brothers? Any question from the brothers?
Jazakallah for coming today, though. It's been really nice. And
Just from Fatimah Academy, we'd like to thank you, say Jazakallah for coming and taking out your time and sharing your experience and writing books and everything else. And we're hoping that you'll come more often as well. And you'll be back next week on Saturday for the Saturday
Yes,
students as well.
students.
So inshallah, Sister Zainab will also be having similar kind of workshops, but directly with the students right now as well. So we're going to have like 2 classes together, same age group, where Sister Zainab will be talking to them about the love of Allah. And it will be during their memorization session, because we kind of feel that in madrasas, when we do memorization, it's just about memorizing. It's just about learning thing in a language that we do not understand. And yes, in our madrasa, they are also learning the meaning of it as well.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it's rote learning. Sometimes the importance of it kind of gets left aside.
Yeah.
And that's something that we want to work on, and that's why we thought you would be the best person to come in to reignite that performance.
Sure.
So inshallah, we're 2 classes together, then after another 2 classes where Sister Zainab will be sort of speaking directly to the children as well. So the 2 nursery classes and the 2 lower primary school. So we will have Sister Zainab for that as well, inshallah. So once again, Jazakallah for coming and taking out your time. Sister Zainab also brought some of her books which are in the office, and your son is there as well looking after it. So if you would like to purchase any of those books, you're more than welcome to come along. I think books are not the most important thing.
So we have one last question.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
We'll wait for you to
No, that's fine.
You can come to me. You can come straight to me if you want. Yeah.
Can I ask a very simple question? Do you have a
Yes.
card reader for payments, or is it cash only?
Oh, it's cash
We
only.
can help out with that.
You can help
we
out
have
with
a
that.
card reader. and
Yeah.
things like that.
Or you could, if you've got a PayPal account, you could do that. But I mean, I'm going to be doing the workshops with the kids, and my son will be.
Sure.
Yeah, it's
We'll be
fine.
there,
I just-
but-
yeah.
Yeah.
If
I mean, yeah. If you
need help, we
coordinate
can
that,
help
it's
you with
fine.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, just take them.
Yeah. Yeah, so Jazakallah for coming. There are quite a few other books. I did look at the one with the bear narrating the stories of the prophets. Is it exactly?
Oh yeah,
this?
Migo and Ali,
Yeah.
the stories of the
So
prophets.
that seems interesting because again it's about the stories of the prophets, and children learn best from stories, and that's been there since the time thousands of years. Stories are something that teach us about us. So and especially when it comes to prophets, and especially with the kind of stuff that's going on in Disney and social media and media, we need some more books where it's speaking to the children. Because alhamdulillah, we do have some of these Islamic story books, but they're not narrated in this kind of way. So I think that's why it's important that we look at that book as well. So please do have a look. And if there are any, if you don't make a commitment now, you've got a card, you can try and sort that with our card machines. So Jazakallah for coming and taking out your time. Sorry about the confusion, but subhanAllah.
Yeah. Lovely to meet you all.
Just as this session ended, a couple of questions came.
Oh, that's fine, yeah.
The form of Allah. After that, if he doesn't eat, he'll be hungry.
I'll answer that for you now, and again, refer back to the blog, that's on the blog as well. Allah SWT looks like nothing that we can imagine, and it's kind of fun, and He's done it that way. Because when we see Him, it's going to be like the best experience. It's going to be like an experience that we've never had before.
Yeah.
You kind of use this kind of rides with kids, make it exciting for them. It would be, because Allah is God at the end of the day. He's something really special. If He looked like something that we could imagine, that would make Him the greatest, and He is the greatest. So He doesn't look like anything that we can think of, any animal that we can think of, or any human that we can think of, or robot, or whatever it is. These are things that are in this world, but Allah SWT is out of this world. So we can try to imagine. Don't discourage them from using their imaginations. Never sort of snub a child's imagination. Just say that we can try to imagine what He looks like, but we'll never be able to get it right because we don't know what He looks like. And that's extra special because it's going to be a big surprise when we finally meet Him. And He doesn't feel bored, and He doesn't feel hungry, and all these things because these are human characteristics. Allah SWT has made humans that way, but He isn't that way Himself. For example, if the child was to model something out of Play-Doh, that Play-Doh would dry out. But the child wouldn't dry out. I mean, not trying to make the child feel like they are a creator or anything, but just to give them an example, it doesn't mean that if you created something out of Play-Doh, it's going to be like you are. That Play-Doh is going to dry out and things, but you're completely different to that Play-Doh. Kind of give them examples like that as well.
Very good. And also, Shaitan's relationship with Allah. So does Allah give shaitan food? Does Allah
Yeah.
look after shaitan?
Yeah, one of the questions was, does Allah punish shaitan? And yes, he does. He will deal with it, just make them let them know that, don't worry, that shaitan will be dealt with. And we don't know, in terms of food, I don't know, Ustad would be better able to answer that, but it's, it's a tune at the end of the day, and they eat bones and that kind of stuff.
Okay.
But just let them know that Allah SWT is going to deal with him in his own way, and he'll have his punishments and things.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what time is the session with the children?